through all of my engagement, and I was just sharing with Vern earlier tonight, I was in Milwaukee, I was in Texas, I was in Georgia today. So I have the opportunity, which I feel is very unique, to speak to people across the country, specifically in senior care, memory care, assisted living, and hospice. So I also work very closely with Catherine Wells, who's the founder and CEO of Serenity Engage, but she's also a huge advocate for increasing the efficiencies in senior care and assisted living. So all of this is bringing us together tonight to talk about the growing demands for communication from family, and it's now influencing where they are placing their parents. And I've got some specific statistics to go along with that. But 80% of lawsuits brought by family boil down to communication issues. And to speak more specifically to that, what I hear most commonly is the frustration around for needing to get in contact with someone and not being able to get real-time responses, and getting stuck chasing voicemails down or playing phone tag. And families just have changed their expectations of that. And then you put COVID on top of it, and it really escalates the issue. So and how can you meet their needs without breaking the bank? Obviously, there's a very fine margin you're working with. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And then also, how can communication improve and decrease your staff turnover, but also help with job satisfaction and really allow care teams to receive the kudos and really engage with family members in a much more impactful way, building the trust that's needed in the community. And then most importantly, how are we improving how improved communication can really impact and improve the residents' quality of life. So what is the research saying today? The CDC recently reported that due to COVID and over the last year, 2020, we have seen 4 times greater risk for premature death, a 50% increase in dementia, 29% increase in heart disease, and 32% increase in stroke. A lot of this is from the loneliness and isolation that exists due to truly our ability and what we've done with restricting visits to keep residents safe. We've also heard that from the Scripps gerontology study in July of 2020, that families have started to feel very disconnected from their loved ones, and only half of them reported that they're getting enough information from staff and care teams. And what we also find is that right now, there is a huge number of baby boomers. There's 10,000 baby boomers turning 65 every day, and that will remain consistent over the next 20 years. So what we're finding is that there's a sandwich generation of these daughters and sons that are raising their children and also caring for their parents. And so we want to make sure that they have the confidence to move their parents into communities and assisted living communities that will help support them and balance everyone. And then my third component is the staff. And so obviously everyone is struggling right now with finding staff and working at full capacity. It is a national issue. I hear of it quite regularly. So how can we avoid staff burnout? How can we keep the staff engaged? And communication really brings all of this together. So the reality of today's communication is that families have more access to information due to technology. It's faster for them to complain, It's their expectations have changed, their demographics have changed, and we've seen that very rapidly over the last few decades, in light truly because of technology and the advancements, but everyone needs device-driven communication or is expecting device-driven communication. You're probably very familiar with this, but senior living has changed. So I recently heard an interesting analogy where over the last year, independent living is no longer truly independent living. Seniors are aging in place. Independent living has moved into a much more assisted living area. Assisted living has moved into almost a skilled nursing criteria, where the care teams are having to provide higher level of care than they ever had before. So just to look through this graph, it really starts to stir up this mix of confusion, fear, guilt from the family, and then also the burden and the confusion and the stress of the care teams. So where can we bridge this gap? It really does come back to communication. So one study indicated that daily collaboration in senior care happened only 23% of the time. And we firmly believe that if that happened more regularly, more consistently, and became part of the day-to-day routine, it would honestly impact all of this dynamic. So a few more recent statistics, but this was just in 2020 again, but it almost seems crazy to families that still in 2020, they're having to wait on hold, calls get dropped, again, chasing down, playing phone tag, chasing down long drawn out emails. And all of this really escalates the fear and frustration that family might already have. And again, and thank you, mass media has not improved this situation at all. But it's really pushing everybody to this brink of fear and frustration where they're keeping their loved ones home longer. And it's obviously impacting census and move-in rates. And then 92% of respondents of a recent survey shared that by getting fun anecdotes, stories, regular communication really does help make them feel that there's a trusted relationship in the care team that's taking care of mom or dad. This is hard for me because usually I'm engaging with everyone. So I can't do that right now, but I will be taking questions at the end. So please make a note if you have any questions or feedback or insight. I'd be happy to talk through some of this. But if you really start to think about some of those concerns and issues, frustrations, fears, disconnection, inefficiencies, I want you to start to think about where technology can start to help. And when I worked in hospice, it was very clear to me that people in senior care and assisted living, hospice, memory care, it is a calling. It is the care that is being provided that is brought you where you are today. It's a passion. And so how can we help focus your day-to-day to allow you to provide the care and to be the team lead that you want to be, and to run your businesses efficiently and strong enough to provide the care that you want to do. And I believe firmly that technology is getting to a point where it can help you. But really, we find with our conversations throughout the day, senior care, there's a lot of interruptions and a lot of inefficiencies through paperwork that just really become cumbersome and hold people back. So what our goal would be to reduce turnover, minimize interruptions, help to streamline communication. When you think about some of the technology tools you use today, maybe on your phone, what do those things provide you? Do they help you obtain a peace of mind? But convincing both hospitals and family members today that it is safe to move patients and loved ones into homes and communities, that is our biggest issue right now. So how can we build the trust behind that concern to help them feel like they are making the best decision. Going back to technology, and if you think about your favorite app on your phone, a lot of them might be Instagram or Pandora or, messaging. What is that giving you throughout your day? And what can it provide you in your community? It can streamline communication. It can add organization. It can connect resources, bring regularity to your day, and really start to cultivate this routine, reduce redundancy, and prevent fragmentation. These are just a few that we've heard specifically, but unfortunately, there still exists a blindness problem. We get trapped that we start to feel that families aren't complaining. We're not hearing of the issues. We're not hearing of the stress. We're not hearing of the fear. Half the families report that getting enough information, half of the families report that they're getting enough information about their loved one. Well, what's the other half doing? And is this where you start to see that risk of litigation open up? And that cost, that time, and the energy spent decompressing and avoiding that frustration can take a lot of time off away from your staff being able to provide the care that they so want to provide. And again, following up on the phone calls, the emails, they don't have enough time. Your staff doesn't have enough time to do anything else during the day because they're busy on the phone. And a lot of times I've seen it firsthand. I had a situation where we had, siblings spread out across the country. They were very, very afraid that mom was declining very rapidly here in Colorado. They couldn't get anyone's direct response. So their imagination spun up. They were just extremely frustrated. And so by being able to allow them a way to get a photo or to get a message, or to just be able to reach someone to know how mom is doing, the evidence of care that is being provided is so critical because you know that your team is going above and beyond. You're doing more than anyone knows. But how can we show that? And technology is definitely a way we can do that. So let's kind of think back through everything we just discussed and how difficult and challenging the last year has been. And I really want to say thank you from the bottom of our hearts for all that you've done, because it has not been easy. And we're very lucky to hear these stories every day of moments that still continued to be shared and the care that was given. So I never want to discredit that. It's that we just need to think differently. Think differently. We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. And if you start to think differently around some of the steps you can take to maybe look at it before it becomes a problem, there is an opportunity. And no one is in a better position than the care team to directly improve the quality of the life of the resident, to help increase your revenues by working more efficiently and effectively, and honestly, to reduce the lawsuits that could happen because of very early on frustration due to lack of communication, lack of contact, and lack of trust. So where do we begin? We start with a conversation. We start with the engagement of the family on a different level. And ultimately, we start to see that time savings and that cost savings. And again, I just want to bring back to light what families are looking for and asking for. The more that they can get a personalized story or anecdote about their resident, 92% of them reported that would be the right information that they want to receive. They want to know how mom and dad are doing spending their time. A lot of times imagination, especially with mass media not helping, is mom just stuck in her bed all day, every day? Well, that's not true. They are getting out. They are, the story I shared earlier with the daughters, they were just so frantic, and it just took a photo of mom with her pearls on, her hair done, and having her glass of Chardonnay, and immediately everything was completely calm, peaceful, and everybody felt better. The resident felt better. And it's that correspondence back and forth. And then the mood of mom. So these statistics right here, 92%, 87%, and 81%, those are substantial. And it really is impacting the outcome. And so here's our friend Stephen Covey, but in a high trust relationship, in a high trust relationship, you can say the wrong thing and people will still get your meaning. In a low trust relationship, you can be very measured, even precise, and they'll still misinterpret you. I have a story around this because we had worked with a client. It was a assisted living community, and they had regular communication through our app, but just having these relationships established and this regular communication and the care being shared in a more routine way, when they did actually have a COVID positive outbreak, the executive director came back to us and said, this would have been so much worse had we not had this trust built up in the first place. Whereas now, when we had the COVID outbreak, everyone knew that we are doing our best, we had done our best, we are working hard, and it minimized that fear and frustration that could have happened. So again, going back to communication and starting that real dialogue and that conversation with family and care teams and management, having oversight over the communication and conversation, all of this comes from research and also collaboration. So Kathy has put together a collaboration circle of your peers. It is a group of national participants. But the reason I wanted to bring that up tonight is that I wanted to validate that this not only comes from a certain group, but it's a group of individuals that have been family members, frontline care team members, hospice providers, owners, managers of large and small communities, memory care staff members. But what the one consistent feedback has been over the last 12 months, 8 months, is that the importance around a communication plan that builds trust quickly. When you have a new resident moving into your home, it's very important that you engage with that family and you have a routine built around that family's expectations so that that communication can be regular enough to get that trust level high right there in the beginning. So it just exponentially smooths out the rest of the outcomes as time goes on. So through this collaboration group, there was a 14-day communication plan built. I am more than happy to share that with anyone that's interested. But it created trust and it met, so the themes were around meeting the team, getting several different layers of input, and an introduction into micro-learning. So micro-learning is a concept around taking short doses of time throughout the week, sharing information throughout the day to family members so that it does become part of their expectation and their routine, and also for your staff to be able to do that. And what happens is, and we hear this quite regularly, is it ends up saving time, 3 to 5 hours a week, because it's not being spent following up with long emails, drawn out voicemails. So it's a big shift. It's a big shift in process, but the outcome is proving to be worthwhile. So here's just an example of really what it hones in to be. So when a family moves their loved one into a home, here are some of the questions they might be thinking. Am I doing the right thing? Or if you really think through hospice, there's such an emotional level there. You know, it's so important to engage early on. But I hope I chose the right location, the right home. Are the caregivers good? I hope he sleeps well. If you have a way to provide the information back to the family members on what you see daily with that new resident, it pays returns exponentially, as I mentioned. So communication is becoming the job. It's becoming the expectation of the family, and it's allowing you to build your move-ins because you're working and offering a technology tool that allows them to be in touch. Now, jumping really quickly, sorry, back to technology and that question. My recommendation is there are options out there and available to senior living and senior assisted living, and just explore. Really do take some time to look into what's available, because really it should make sense, and it should not be something that takes away from your margin. It should be something that is obtainable financially. So, and then keep in mind, education happens in that moment. So research shows that microlearning is 20% more effective and contributes to 71% deeper learning. So by sharing daily deposits of information, you're building up that trust much, much faster. And your care teams are building up these relationships that help them work better as a care member. And what I mean by that is, here's an example. In the frantic state of moving mom or dad into an assisted living, they miss little details. So then they're left to worry about mom or dad, and the care team is left to have to fend and care without the details. If you have a way to have instant communication, it allows the family members to actually be part of the care team and share information. So for example, we just had a situation where the mom was going through sundowning and the daughter hadn't shared the details of what helps with that sundowning. And we were able to message really quickly, and the care team found out that coffee, no sugar, nice and hot. And that just instantly helped everything smooth over and work in a much more effective way. Okay, so there is a cost to getting it wrong. Obviously, frustration results in moving out, increased legal action risk, and poorer health outcomes. So studies are showing that collaboration with long-term care environments, families working with care teams, are helping lower staff burnout. It's less staff and family conflict. It reduces staff depression, fewer behaviors for residents, increased family participation, and increased family participation of quality of care. And those things right there are worth taking some time to really start to think differently about how you can bring in tools to help everyone work more efficiently and effectively, and be able to provide the care that you all are doing on a daily basis. And without you, our older adults would be lost. So I very much thank you. I thank you for the opportunity, and I would love to answer any questions you might have. Here's my contact information, and I will make sure that that's also in the chat. But I hope that met your needs, Vern, and thank you again for your opportunity.
Absolutely, Courtney. You did a great job of presenting some good information. But I think what you should also share with the group is what your company does.
I don't want to sell. Vern, I told you I wouldn't sell.
Right, but I thought it was a unique product, and I think that the group would probably like to hear about it too.
Okay, perfect. So Serenity Engage is a HIPAA compliant communication app. And I'm not going to go through this at all in detail, but since you asked, I will just show. It is an app that is no, I'm not even going to do that. It's a HIPAA compliant app that allows care teams to work in private channels that are built around your residents, and you can connect unlimited family members across the globe in that private channel. It's just like messaging on your phone. You can share video, photo, updates. And so it can allow multiple team members to be added to a channel. So if you've got shift changing or anything like that, they're still all working in that private space. And then keeping the family on board and up to speed as well. So a lot of what I was speaking to is to that extent. And the results are obviously driven from that product. But and then it also allows you to have staff channels so that your staff can be, sharing updates, sharing messages, supply needs, and it's all safe with HIPAA compliance. So you can share medical information with family and staff.
Great, thanks. Do
Thank
we
you.
have any questions from the audience? And you can either raise your hand or there's a little reactions where you can raise your hand. Wayne, did you have a question?
Yeah, can Courtney put back up her contact last screen? It hasn't been posted yet, just your last contact screen.
Absolutely. Maybe.
And I'm not getting paid to do that. I just want the information, Vern.
Thank you.
And Courtney, would you be willing to share your slides with the group?
Yes, I absolutely will. And that 14-day communication book that I mentioned is totally free, available on our website, serenityengage.com. And at the top, you'll see a tab where you click ebook. And there's a hospice version, and senior living, assisted living would definitely be applicable. But that's available there for you. Absolutely.
Courtney, what's the cost of Serenity Engage?
Great question. So it is $10 per month per resident channel. So if you've got 5 residents and they're active channels, then it would be $50 per month.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
And that includes unlimited staff, unlimited family members. And then we have this general channel. So general channels can be unlimited, but it's staff only channels. We like some of our communities love to have a menu channel so they can post their daily menus, or an activities channel so they can post daily activities, their photos. So that's all included in that price point as well.
And then, so could you use it in the home setting? Like if somebody had home care and their family lived in another state?
Yes.
So then actually, the family would be assuming that cost then, which would still be $10?
Correct. Yep.
Wow. Thank you.
And there is a families tab on our website as well, so they can go there if they're interested, for sure.
It seems very reasonable for what they get.
It is a passion project, I like to say. Our founder, CEO, Kathy Wells, has been in software and tech for 25 years. And it wasn't until she had her own mother and father in memory care, assisted living, and later in hospice that she realized there is a gap in coordination and communication that technology can solve. And she and her co-founder set out to bring Serenity Engage to senior care. So we only provide, we are focused only on senior care. And we purposely keep it as straightforward and simple, intuitive as possible, because our demographic truly is from the granddaughter who's 18 to the spouse that's 75 plus. So it's very user friendly, I like to say.
Great. Aaron has a question.
Yep.
Yeah, Courtney, one of the challenges that we've been running into, obviously everything's had to change in the season of COVID in how we communicate. And so we've been trying to embrace different forms of technology. What we've run into is there's two sides. One side is like sometimes residents like don't respond very well to technology, like it's confusing, particularly with like visual impairments or other aspects of dementias or things that where it's confusing. There's that side of the coin. So we've had families push back and say, like that confuses mom, so we don't want to do it. Then we've had the other side of the coin with technology of families where we're having to spend all this time getting them to embrace technology, downloading things, getting logged in, getting their speaker working, their camera, whatever the thing is. And so I just was curious, can you speak to those challenges of technology adoption?
Absolutely. And, I think we've even seen a higher adoption rate over the last 8 to 9 months than we could have ever imagined. I can speak just specifically to my own parents, but yes, you're absolutely right. There is that challenge, and we do see it regularly. Our platform is really built for the care teams to connect with families. So it's more often than not that it's the care staff that has the app on their phones, and they're directly communicating with the families. So not necessarily the resident. But, we, again, try and keep it as straightforward. It is downloading the app onto a smartphone or a device, an iPad. And then when you get into the app, it's very much, we purposely keep it very much like texting. But it is a struggle. We've had, I will quote one of my clients. I am not tech savvy, but I'm on Serenity every day. So it can be easily managed. And I just think that this pandemic has almost forced us all to pay attention to what we have to jump into, even though it's extremely intimidating. But look at what we do tonight and get on Zoom and network. So we have seen evolution, I think. And we have an amazing customer success director that literally will spend hours helping people if it's needed.
Thanks, Courtney. Wayne, you have a question.
Courtney, literally 12, 15 years ago, I was developing something attuned to what you're talking about with your HIPAA equipment. And I did read, I think it was a professor at Stanford that had actually created software that if a parent living alone walked to the bathroom and they could see they were stumbling, there was software and algorithms that would notify a child. Has that, I'm sure it's developed. What are your thoughts on that kind of AI in a smaller location for the kids of a parent?
Right. And I've heard something similar, not that specifically, but the presentation that I saw that I can speak to is that with the demands of staffing and the statistic I shared with the 10,000 baby boomers turning 65 every day, there is a gap between the amount of care that will be needed and the amount of care teams that we have available. And so I have seen where AI is being developed to help, especially in memory care communities and environments where they can help support that need. I've not heard or seen what you're talking about specifically, though. I think it will continue to grow and evolve and be needed, unfortunately, because we just have such a gap.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions out there? No? Okay, well, we have recorded this. We will put the recording and the slides up on the website. So you should be able to have access. I know there was a particular slide in there that I think Maggie wanted to see. So we'll have that up on the website probably within a week or so. And Courtney, thank you very much. We really appreciate your time and that you could show this technology to us. And it was a very good presentation. Can we get a round of applause for Courtney?
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Vern. And if you are interested, I'm more than happy to run through a specific demo and real presentation about Serenity. So, but I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it valuable. And I do really, truly very much appreciate what you do every day. So thank you, thank you, thank you, and have a lovely rest of your evening.
Thanks. Okay, so that was a great presentation. Thanks again, Courtney. Next, we will go to our haves and wants. And this is an opportunity if you are a vendor and you would like to tell the group what you do. This is an opportunity for you to take a couple of minutes and do that. If you are looking for something, if you're not only vendors, but anybody that has something or wants something or has an announcement, this is an open forum and we welcome you guys to express yourselves. Do we have anybody who would like to start?
I can kick it off if that works.
All right, Blake.
So I'm Blake Crawford with Assured Partners Senior Living. We're one of the largest senior living insurance brokers in the nation. I'm here in Colorado. And again, with all of the spend you all have had to deal with these days with COVID and all the additional PPP or PPE, cost for premium is rising as well. So my job is to help keep that down and keep your facilities safe. And just like Courtney said, that communication between the facilities and the families is a great way to keep a lot of litigation down. I know that firsthand, see that all the time. So I definitely encourage you all to look at that and find that way to bridge that gap as well. So I put my information in the chat, but thank you all. Thanks, Courtney.
Thanks, Blake. Anybody else? Do we have any other vendors that would like to speak? Yes, Rick.
Hi, how's it going? Thank you for allowing me to make a little presentation. I'm with One Source Energy Solutions, and essentially we help people cut their electric bill or replace it actually with solar. A lot of misconceptions out there. Essentially what you can do with solar is take what you're already paying to utility and just move that over to a solar loan. There's no down payment, there's no increase in cost. Essentially you're creating an investment out of a bill because it adds equity to the property. The federal government will pay 26% of the cost. And with electricity rising constantly, I know a lot of you are probably in the Excel area. They are going to double electricity rates from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. and then from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. And from 2 to 6, they're going to triple it. So you're going to see your bills going up drastically. And like I said, basically, why not take that same money and put it into an investment that'll eventually pay off and you won't have any electric bills at all. So give me a call if you have any interest and we'll see what we can do for you.
Thanks, Rick. And
Hey, Rick, is he
Go
in
ahead,
the
Aaron.
contact information? Sorry, is he in the
Yeah, it's
contact
in the-
information?
Yes, sir. It's in the chat there.
Okay, thanks.
You bet.
Well, that's scary news that Excel is going to be doubling in those timeframes.
Isn't that nice of him with COVID going on? Good timing.
Right. Okay, anyone else? No? Okay. Well, I'll take a moment and just share a couple of opportunities that we have out there. We have an 11 bed that's for sale, but that is now under contract as of last week. However, we're always looking for backups for that. The asking price on that is $790, and that is in the city of Centennial. We have 26 beds of memory care that is down south in Colorado Springs, scattered facilities. That one, the asking price is 3.5 million. We did receive an LOI on that this evening, so I don't know what the status is going to be on that next week, but it is out there. And it is the only lockdown memory care in the springs of small facilities, the home style. And then we just picked up 40 beds in Grand Junction. 8 of them are memory care, 32 of those are assisted living. And the asking price on that one is 3.3 million. So if you guys have any interest in any of these, please reach out and contact me. If you're thinking about expanding your business, please let me know. We might be able to help you with that. If you're thinking of selling your business, please let me know. I can certainly help you with that as well. And that would wrap up our haves and wants.
Vern, do you
Vern?
have those listed out someplace on your website or
Today, I think the only one that we
anything
have
like that?
was the Centennial one is the only one that we had on the website today. The others, the Colorado Springs one, he wanted to keep it in the private networks before we went out to the public with that. So I don't know if that one will even go on the market. The Grand Junction one will be going on the market after we get photos, which we plan on doing this weekend. So we'll probably have the packet ready for that and put it out next week.
Vern, I had a very similar question. In the past, you used to hand out like that little sheet of available homes at the Denver AALR meetings. Did you just go over that sheet? Is that all that's really available?
No, there
Or
are
are
a
there
few
more
others
out
out
there
there
that you
available.
would-
I actually thought about updating that for this meeting, but time slipped away from me. But I can certainly get that
That's fine.
updated, and if you're interested, Aaron, I can send you out. I have evaluated a couple up in your area recently. I don't know if they're planning on selling or not, but we just did some valuations just to see what they look like. There hasn't been a lot of new activity up there. There's been, I can think of probably 3 off market here in the Denver metro that are available. So if you guys are looking for something, and it's, there's a couple others that are on the market, but there's at least 3 that are off the market right now.
I always found that to be a helpful tool. And yeah, sharing it out is good because it's nice to, I don't know if you keep any stats or data.
I do.
One thing I think people are probably interested in is like, is there more volume in the world of COVID, less volume, everything staying the same, prices up and down? I don't know that you ever keep track of that type of data, but it's just curious data for the industry as a whole.
Absolutely. We have seen probably a little bit more activity recently. And I think, you guys got beat up pretty bad last year. So if somebody was thinking about the door going into the year, they're definitely looking for the door at the end of the last year. So I've definitely seen some more activity, more than I typically would see. We're getting a lot more inquiries about it. And certainly there's still, I've got a lot of buyers coming at me. Buyers are coming from nationwide as well. So we have kind of spread our wings nationwide, and we're looking for some clients down in Texas and also in Arizona. And I've had a few hits elsewhere across the country. I just spoke with a guy in California yesterday. So I would say, I'm busy, really busy right now. It's not all local, but there's a lot of activity going on. And there's people that are looking to get out, and there's people that are looking to get in. So I think the velocity here has picked up a bit. So Aaron, I can put that together and send it out to you, and I'll make note to at least try to get that ready for the next meeting so that you guys can see what is out there on the market. And maybe there's one nearby that would make sense to pick up.
Yeah, always appreciate it. And just little reports of like industry trends and things. I know like one of our local realtors the group real estate, they send out like a, kind of a quarterly or monthly type of a, just market analysis, what's been happening, trends from last year to this year and things like that. And I don't want to task you with anything because I know you got more on your plate, but you're kind of the guy in this industry. And you, if anybody has a pulse on what's happening, it's probably you. And all of us tapping into what's behind your mind is pretty valuable and cool if it's ever available.
Certainly. Well, I can say I've reviewed a lot of P&Ls over the last few months. And I would say across the board that everybody's labor rates went up and everybody's supplies went up, and significantly too. And I would also say that their admissions went down. So, profit was pretty tough for you guys this last year. And I know that's really challenging, especially if you're running an 8-bed, then it gets really tough. But, we think we're on the downhill side of this thing. We can never tell, who knows? But, let's hope that we are on the downhill side and that this year is better for you guys. I kind of think it will be better because if anything, now there's a vaccine out. We're kind of used to what this has done and know how to handle it. So there's fewer questions about it. I think in the long run that there is an advantage marketing wise because there's been fewer deaths and a lot more control in the smaller facilities. And I think you can use that to your advantage when you're going up against the big box. In the big box, they've got, so many people that come and go and employees and vendors and, in and out of the facilities that it was really hard for them to control. But with you guys, you can keep the same staff pretty much, same 3 people working for the entire week and not have a lot of turnover with staffing. You can control the vendors that come in. And I think that the small facilities like what you guys did performed a lot better with the COVID outbreak. And I think that's a real marketing plus that you can use moving forward. It'd be good to get solid data on that. And that is something I think that the National Association is working on. But from what we've seen, those are the facts. And you guys, it's a great tool, to be able to combat, hey, you're paying $8,000 a month over there and your parents are at risk. So you could pay $6,000 here and they'll be safe.
Vern,
All right.
can I just chime in real quick? I'm so sorry, but I want to reiterate that. I actually hear that quite regularly, that the families are moving out of big box into smaller homes. Really because of the more intimate, direct communication and the safety concerns. So I totally agree with you. And I think if you can market and promote yourself around that, that's really, really helpful, just from other conversations I've had throughout the country.
Great. Thanks, Courtney. Okay, I just want to wrap up. Let's see, can you see my screen again? Not sure if I shared that right.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So, let's see here. When we get live again, our membership is $80 per individual, $120 for partners. There are vendor sponsorships available. Today with COVID and Zoom, we really don't have any expenses. So we're passing that expense less on to you guys. Our meetings are free right now. I don't know if we'll ever get back to this point where we need to charge. Hopefully we'll get enough vendors that there wouldn't be a charge for you guys to be part of our group. And we can get to live meetings again. And when we do have Torchy's Tacos picked out. It will be probably a combination of live and Zoom. So you may not necessarily have to attend in order to get some of the benefits of the networking and the presentations. And we've had such good success with the Zoom meetings that we're trying to figure out how do we incorporate it. I know it's a lot easier doing a Zoom meeting. The parking's good. The drive is really short. So you know, we're happy to get people from across the country that attend these meetings. So it's a great way to share information and share some of our resources. So that concludes our meeting tonight. And oh my gosh, I am like right on time, which never ever happens. So Courtney, thanks for being so with it and prompt there. We do leave this open for the next 15, 30 minutes, however long you guys want to hang out and visit with each other. I encourage that. Again, this is all about networking. So I'm going to sign off, but leave it open for you. And I want to thank everybody for attending tonight. It's great to see you guys again. Look forward to when we can do it in person, but this Zoom has worked very well. And again, it's great to see some of the guys that come from out of state. Ed, one of these days we got to catch up and see how your facility is doing. I know.
Come out to Indiana, or if you go to Chicago, we're only about 30, 45 minutes from there. So.
All right.
Beautiful.
Great, great. Well, Ed built a beautiful facility. What was it, 2 years ago?
We broke ground about a year and a half ago. We've been open in June. We opened.
Okay. Yeah.
So.
Well, that's a really nice facility, and I'd sure love to show your photos off one of these days so these guys can see what it's all about.
Yeah, and I was gonna ask if anybody be willing to talk to me in a little, either on here or offline. I don't know if anybody has a memory care home here, because we're kind of looking at number 2 right now, and I don't know how much of, like, I would say we have 8 residents right now, and a majority of them have memory issues that could probably qualify for memory care at a big box place. But like, how much different if it's taking care of people that are memory, you know, if we call our next house a memory care home. So like, is it more intense taking care of everybody and everything versus the regular assisted living that we have, the issues that we have here? So
that's a good question, Ed. I went to it was just a really short seminar that was put on by a representative from Teepa Snow. Are you familiar with that name?
Yeah, I heard of them.
And I was I think it was a 45-minute seminar that I went through, but I was absolutely floored by what they were able to describe of how the brain works and how the memory care patients, how their vision gets tunnel vision and how
was that at the NatCon like 2 years ago?
Exactly.
3 years ago?
Right.
That was really good.
Yeah. So I think that it's obviously a very different scenario than what you guys are working with now, but I think they have educational courses that you want to put your people through. But I was blown away.
Yeah,
my grandmother had Alzheimer's, and I never knew about some of the things that she went through, and it was eye-opening.
Hey, Vern, I want to give you a shout out. I've done video conferencing since the late 90s for a major software firm involved in hospital software, but you have done an excellent job tonight with Zoom and using the breakout rooms. And all I can do is say, very, very good job of what you've done tonight. I met you in person a number of years ago. You don't perhaps remember me, but I attended the meetups. But thank you for tonight. I really valued it, made some contacts, and keep.
Well, thank you, Wayne. I appreciate that. So again, we'll leave this open. And, if there is anybody here that does memory care, Mitch, are you guys doing any memory care yet? Or is that Jennifer?
Hey, Ed, this is.
Yes, we've got 2 memory care homes.
Okay.
Maybe you can answer.
Sometimes, do you have your information on there?
Yes, although you're really going to want to talk to my wife because she's the one that operates them.
Okay. Yeah, so okay with that.
Yeah, Ed, this is Aaron in Fort Collins. And I've, not a whole world of experience, but I have been associated with, assisted living and skilled nursing and things since my youth. And what I've come to learn more recently is in the small home environments, when it comes to memory care, what I think is really important, one, there is a true difference, as Vern mentioned, between dementia and Alzheimer's, and that's important to kind of differentiate. But there's also, what I notice is every human being is unique and original. And the earlier you can get them into a comfortable home environment, and I do believe that there is a little bit of pharmaceutical intervention that can be very helpful. This is what is used in all large big box facilities as well. It is a tool that I think we have to keep in our tool chest and not disregard it. Just being in a safe home environment where all your basic needs are being met alone cannot always be the solution. But here's what I've seen is that in the small homes where basic needs are being met, a person feels safe if they can get involved early enough so that their dementia does not progress to such a severe level prior to getting essentially adjusted or settled into the home. If they can get in there early enough, the small home environment is incredibly powerful and can really be a safe, good environment for both memory care and assisted living. It can all work together too. It doesn't have to be separated out. They don't have to be locked facilities, but there are examples where the locked facility is about the only option, and that can happen with progressed Alzheimer's and things. But have faith that this model works.
Yeah, the biggest difference I think between the memory cares and the assisted living is that they are secured. So you've got to have they're not able to just go outside on their own.
Right.
And then probably the next big thing is the behaviors. And that's kind of what Vern was talking about with Teepa Snow. She talks a lot about how to handle the behaviors, because if they have dementia and it's progressed a ways, the behaviors definitely are different.
And then what about the ratio too? Like, is it typically the same? Like, we're 1 to 6. So is that going to change at all?
Yeah, it's a higher ratio of staff. So we typically have 2 on during the day at our larger homes. At memory care, we'll have 3 in a memory care.
Okay. 3 for how many?
16.
Okay. Okay, so you can get away with having 2 in an assisted living for 16.
Yes.
What about at nighttime? At assisted
depending, we have some homes where we have higher levels of care where they need 2-person assist. So in those situations, sometimes we have 2 overnight. But depending on your level of care of the residents, you can get away with 1 some.
Okay. And that's with your caregivers. What are the responsibilities, like still cooking and cleaning, or are they just strictly caring for the residents at that point?
Yeah, our caregivers do cooking and cleaning also.
Oh, okay.
So the overnights, if we have 2, one of them's cleaning, and we try to do a lot of the food prep overnight.
Right.
Okay. And Ed, I'll just say, so we do specialize in memory care at our facility, and we're a 12-bed. And I think maybe this Mark. I think maybe you've talked to Mark before, or he's at least liked your post, he said.
No, we've spoken on the phone.
Okay. But so we do specialize in memory care at our facility, and we employ all the Teepa Snow stuff. I think that's really important, that the approach to care that you go with. A couple things I'll just say is you can sort of maybe bridge the gap between being a secured facility or acting like a secured facility, but not being licensed as a secured facility, which comes with a whole bunch of different requirements. So what we've done is we have a secured courtyard, we have a coded entrance.
What-
We totally operate like a
about the-
secured
What do
environment.
you do for the front door? Because I have the same setup. I have the secure courtyard, but the front door, that's just wide open.
So we have we actually have a side door that goes into our reception area, and then you have to have a code to get into the community.
Okay.
So we operate exactly like a secured environment, but we didn't get licensed like a secured environment because it comes with a whole lot of different restrictions and complications. But I think to Vern's point, it's and Mitch's too, it's really important that you have the right staff and the right staff to resident ratio when you think about this, because they are higher needs and you do really need a different level of care. You may have people that are completely mobile, which is great, but they cognizantly, they just may not have it together. So you really have to decide on that and what your population is. But Teepa Snow, absolutely incredible. Make sure that you have somebody very, very well trained in those regards. Our administrators, a coach, a certified coach in Teepa Snow. So that really helps. Those are just some things to think about.
Your place that you mentioned about like that you have with the secured courtyard, how many residents are there?
So we're licensed for 12. We only have 8. We just started last March of 2020. So really crappy year to open up, but we have 8.
What is your website? Do you have a website, or I mean, what is your information? I mean, your phone number and all that email and all that stuff.
Yep. So it's all in the chat. And our website's www.morrisonmanor.com.
Oh, I think I sent you a text. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So and we've got some videos on there on our facility if you want to kind of see how it's laid out and stuff.
Okay.
Heather, when your 12-bedroom place is full, how many caregivers would you have for the 12, do you think?
So it kind of goes back to what Mitch was saying. It really depends on mobility because the biggest issue is evacuation. So we got to make sure that we can evacuate everybody safely. And when you have memory issues and, cognitive disabilities, you really have to take that into account. Most of our residents are pretty mobile, but we do have a 2-story facility. So we also have to take that into account. We have an elevator, but in an evacuation, you can't really use the elevator. So the fire department, when they do their, their fire drills, they want to make sure you can get everybody out in the stairs. So that's our biggest issue. And it just, we just have to figure out the population that we have and then staff accordingly for evacuation primarily. You okay, Ed?
Yeah, my speaker went out. Sorry, I hit something.
Oh, I did a joke.
You cut out when you said fire code. Your fire code. I'd be interested to hear about that sometime.
Yeah, that's a whole other conversation.
Right. Okay.
All right, I want to remind everybody that, again, you can save the chat if you click on the chat button and where you put in the information. There's a little button with 3 dots, and that allows you to save that file. So again, keep this open. I love to see the discussion that you guys have going on here. And I'm just going to step aside and let you have at it. When everybody's gone, we'll close down the evening. So thanks again, everybody, for coming tonight.
Hey, Blake.
Thanks, Vern.
Thank you, Vern. Thanks. I was interested in hearing with Blake about, are you still on, Blake? No, I think he just dropped off.
Yeah.
I wonder if he can really be competitive. I've thought a lot about like CALA being a possible resource for getting our different general liability and professional liability insurances in a more collaborative way. It feels like that's another thing where the cost is going up a lot right now.
I use Blake for my insurance broker, and he He actually has really competitive quotes. He was really good.
Good, Blake. Okay.
Heather, yeah, now I remember your guys' place. I remember speaking with your husband. Very
He-
beautiful, very beautiful.
Thanks. He just hangs out in the background and makes me do all the talking.
Hey, right, I think I was telling your husband about how Facebook was good with me, like how Facebook did really good. That's been our best resource. If we had probably had a total of 10 people in there, 7 of them came from Facebook.
Thanks.
And the most powerful thing about Facebook is that it's better than Google AdWords to me, because when people see Google AdWords, it's because they're searching for it. Facebook, they know what you're thinking. They know exactly everything about you. So they're going to find it even though they're not looking for it. Like if they had a Google search a couple days ago, they know that you're looking for it.
Right. It's going to find you.
Yeah, and then I have like 1,000 people on my Facebook page, which is most of it's paid for. So I don't want to be like, oh, you know, they found me all by themselves, but a lot of it's paid for. But a lot of people are, I don't know what they call them, like sleepers or something, that where probably within the past month, we've had 2 people call us, like, yeah, we've been following you since day one, and now it's time for my mom, or so, you know, there's people that are just waiting on there till that time. So, you know, that'll pay back big time. But
Yeah.
as far as marketing goes, it's Facebook's been amazing. So
That's great to know. Thank you.
like what you guys, since you guys are memory, you know, I would just put, there's a top, or I don't know what they call them, insights, where like interests that people have, like you can put all the insights in for what type of person you want to find. And you can put dementia or Alzheimer's too. So right there, that's just a piece of cake. And then you advertise to people 50 or older or whatever you want. So, and it's so cheap. It's very, very cheap. So.
That's great. You on that, Mark? Mark's
Yeah.
going to get on that.
I did a little bit.
I can help them because, you know, with my stuff that I've done. So it's like, I will, forever, I will always have Facebook advertising going, $5 a day, $10 a day. And I'm getting 30 hits a day from Facebook on my site from there. So it's powerful.
Great.
Okay, Heather, I'm looking forward to meeting with you soon.
Yeah, it'll be great to connect, Fran. Thanks for
Yes.
reaching out.
All right, bye now.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to go with you. You guys have a good day.
Okay. Good night.
Hey, Rick, do you want to share for a second about what you were talking about earlier as far as solar goes?